Addiction has been destroying lives.
Drugsverslaving is een groot maatschappelijk probleem.
We zien echt een verandering in de laatste jaren. Dat de verslavende elementen echt steeds heftiger worden.
Everybody I know is addicted to heroin.
Je leven is niet gemaakt om hem kapot te maken. Je hebt er maar één.
En ik denk zeker dat helaas sommige mensen zeker gevoeliger zijn voor verslaving. Dat heeft vaak te maken met ook andere aspecten wat in hun leven vaak niet goed is gegaan. En ik denk dat deze mensen ook zeker moeten helpen om in ieder geval hun verslaving te kunnen weerstaan.
As a student of biology, now we can kind of definitely say with proof that your brain's physiology and your genetics play a huge role into how susceptible you are to addiction. And as such, I think it's pretty important to take that into consideration when we're looking at the whole problem or the issue of addiction in society. It's more than just a societal issue stemming from the environment. It's also about what's ingrained in our very DNA.
I would say yes and no. There are definitely, research has shown that specific genetics or neurological makeup, as well as behavioral influences can lead to a person being of higher risk of being addicted. However, that does not mean that that person also will be addicted in their life, whereas other people that have a low risk will get addicted. So I think it very much depends on the individual and their environment. But on paper I would say, yes, there's a likelihood.
I do believe, if my idea is correct, that there are certain genetic predispositions to addiction that some people have. But I am a very, very firm believer that addiction is also something that comes mostly from life circumstances that people are met with. So certain individuals are more likely to suffer from addiction because of how their lives are set up, rather than necessarily just genetically. It's just kind of the way that the world is set up and the way that society is set up leads to individuals needing coping mechanisms, and addiction can be one of those.
Well, I would say it all depends on your environment. There are people who will get easily addicted because their parents are addicted to alcohol or smoking, and it's just something that they are very used to in their environment. But that does not mean that someone who maybe lived with smokers their whole life will become one. Maybe they're strong enough to not become addicted. It's a topic close for me because I've been addicted to smoking for past way too long that I would like to say, and it's been something that I've been dealing with not very great for a long time. My family has always been one to smoke a lot. I got addicted because my parents were addicted to smoking. It's a topic very, very close to my personal life.
As a human society, we've come really far over the past 2,000 or 3,000 years, but we still have to go further in extending our empathy and compassion for the people who are dealing with the traumatizing situation of addiction. And we need to extend a helping hand and kind of help remove the social stigmas that stand around the issue of addiction. It's not something that we need to shy away from, but we need to try and solve the underlying issues that cause addiction predominantly in our society.
Je zag laatst video's voorbij komen over Kensington, dat is een wijk in Amerika. En daar zie je echt het leed wat verslaving aan de samenleving kan doen. En dat vind ik echt verschrikkelijk om te zien. En op die manier houdt het thema me best wel bezig.
So I think it's a very serious topic, and I think very often that a family that has someone with addiction should be educated properly about how to deal with that people and also be able to help adequately. And it's also known that individuals that suffer from addiction very often come from poverty or have a background of a low socioeconomic status, and there getting help or being educated is very hard. So I think it's important that we develop preventions and interventions that can reach those areas easily and don't necessarily need a lot of funding.
I think the most important thing about addiction is that it's not a choice, and I am very, very strongly against the criminalization of addiction and against the incarceration of people who suffer from addiction, because again, it's not a choice, and that can be backed up by any scientist or anyone who works with people who suffer from addiction, who works in addiction, is that it's not a choice. People don't choose actively to be addicted to something, and to no longer be addicted to something that's something incredibly hard that needs so much resources and support that often people don't have access to, and that even if they do have access to all those resources, might not even happen. So.
Het komt terug binnen de opleiding, omdat het eigenlijk met name altijd de vraag is, moet de overheid mensen beschermen tegen deze middelen? En zo ja, in welke mate? Bijvoorbeeld roken, als je daar accijns op heft, het is een verslaving voor heel veel mensen, maar mag je het zomaar afnemen? Dat is de vraag aan de overheid. En moeten wij mensen ook beschermen tegen zichzelf, bijvoorbeeld voor alcohol? Het is eigenlijk best wel apart dat alcohol overal zomaar verkrijgbaar is. Dus binnen dat soort vraagstukken komt binnen deze opleiding het aan bod.
So within my study program, I have the opportunity to kind of explore all kinds of different topics, and one of them is addiction, particularly in the context of the opioid epidemic. I've looked a lot into OxyContin within the frame of the opioid epidemic. And I've been able to kind of look at the ways in which neoliberal capitalism and our economic system allowed for this addiction to spread through so many people in North America because of corporate greed, I would argue. So that's been really interesting.
We do study a lot of the interactions within the brain and how different biological systems within our body react to addiction, and how even the process of recovering from addiction can have side effects such as withdrawal. Like it's a very complex part of biology, and I think we approach it at a very fundamental level, and I think that's how we can proceed on the scientific aspect of trying to treat addiction.
It's something that is a topic that I think it should be a clear topic in every study, because it's something that a lot of students deal with as an issue. Addiction to opioids, addiction to drugs, addiction to smoking, addiction to alcohol.
Addiction is not necessarily a course that I have or something that we specifically deal with, but very often mental health issues lead to addiction or the other way around. So it's a topic that we deal with, and especially during adolescence, when heightened risk-taking and a rearrangement also of the brain makeup sometimes happens, there's a higher risk for adolescents getting into addiction. So we very much look into the facts that could lead to that area in order to develop preventions.